Hello friends, this is Otz with a rare short, not 10-hour long video, and this one is full of micro tips for both killer and survivor. These are tips that are super easy to learn, super easy to do, and once you know about them, they should help you out quite a bit in some situations. This video will help beginners the most, but even if you're a veteran, I'm still sure there's at least a few things in this video that you will find useful. And we're going to start off with survivor ones. The first one concerning the situations where there is a survivor down on the ground and another survivor needs to interact with something that the survivor is sitting on top of. This can be the hatch, and I'm sure you've had this happen to you at least once, where you try to open the hatch with a key and instead you end up healing the survivor on the ground, and if the killer's nearby, that's typically GG, game over. This can also happen very frequently at exit gates, where you try to open the gate and instead end up healing someone on the ground nearby. Well, the way to prevent this, if you're the survivor on the ground, is to actually hold shift, or whatever button you have assigned to run. And if you hold that, even without moving, you will completely eliminate the prompt to heal you, allowing your teammate to open the gate or open the hatch, and then if you stop pressing it, then they'll be able to heal you, and you can both make it out. The next tip involves opening chests and picking up the items. You might have noticed that when you open a chest, there is this long, about 1 second long animation after you open it before you can pick up the item. It's a bit of an awkward animation that actually can be skipped. And the way to do it is to hold shift, and the moment the bar fills up, move forward. That will make your character run, skip this animation, picking the item much quicker, and overall will save you 1 whole second, which is not a lot, but can add up. The next tip is a useful little trick that you can pull off when running sprint burst and working on a generator by yourself. If you're in a very unsafe generator, or if you think the killer could come at you at any time, then obviously don't do this. But if you know for a fact that you're going to be able to finish the generator by yourself and that you're not in immediate danger, one thing that you can do is, when the progress bar is about to reach 50%, do a tiny little sprint and then get back to the generator. This will make it so that by the time the generator is completed, your sprint burst is now very close to being 99. You can now run to the next generator and have it immediately available if the killer interrupts you there or on your way to that generator, allowing you to use it a little bit more aggressively and catch a killer off guard. And the final micro tip for survivors is the deliberate use of tactical stalling to shave off a few seconds of the killer's time. In this situation, for example, Victor just downed Meg and I am immediately able to kick him. However, knowing that Victor has a 5-second cooldown, I can actually drag out this situation and kick him in a second or two instead of immediately. During that second or two, the mech has time to recover a little bit, my teammates have extra time to do generators, and the killer is completely locked in animation and cannot really do anything. So waiting that 1 or 2 seconds actually buys everyone time and takes it away from the killer. After that, I kick Victor, and I have a little bit more time to pick up Meg and make a getaway. As long as you're familiar with some of the cooldowns on killer actions, you can do this against a number of killers, delaying your actions slightly to rob them of more and more time. Very, very useful, and those seconds can make a difference sometimes. Moving on to our killer micro tips, we're going to begin with a little trick that's really helpful if you anticipate that a survivor will break free of your grasp before you can make it to a hook. In these situations, the survivor typically makes a lot of distance, and when you recover from your stun, it will take a long time to catch up to them. However, if you're near some sort of elevation, you can actually approach it with your left side and make the survivor drop there. You will have the same stun, but they will have a longer animation to recover from, and that will make a difference and you will catch them faster. In fact, if the drop is large enough, you might be able to catch up to them almost immediately. Talking about dropping down, this next trick is one I get asked about a lot when I do it on stream, but it actually makes a lot of sense. So we know that when you swing your weapon as a killer, you get a big speed boost, but then you also get a big penalty to your movement. So much so that if you just try to swing around the map, you're actually a lot slower than if you just moved normally. However, when you need to drop down and then immediately do a 180-degree turn to go back below, doing a lunge attack is actually an incredibly effective way of steering yourself, keeping your momentum. And because the cooldown happens as you're falling down, it actually ends up being a big time saver if you do it right. This can be done in or out of chase, and if you try it yourself, you'll see it does make a big difference in catching up to a survivor. The next micro tip is a neat little trick to fool any survivor running spine chill. And the way to do it is to put whatever position they're in on the edge of your screen and then walk towards them diagonally. If you do it right, spine chill will remain off until the very last second, giving you a big chance to catch them off guard. The next micro tip is a very subtle one that can help you get rid of pallets a little bit faster. If you identify a situation where you're just a little bit too far to get a hit on a pallet, you might want to run through it and get stunned, or you might just want to stand still and respect the pallet. But if the survivor doesn't drop it, it's possible that they could get another loop around it. So a third option that I really like to do is to very slightly strafe to left or right as I approach the pallet. This makes it apparently a lot harder for you to get stunned, but also doesn't give the survivor a clear indication that you're respecting it, so they are more likely to drop it. It works quite well from my experience. You give it a go. Another small but often overlooked micro tip that I can give you is to look around your screen while you're locked in animation. If you're kicking a generator, there's no need for you to look at the animation. Look at the hut, look at the grass around it, look at the birds in the distance. You might sometimes notice a survivor hiding or something else that you might have missed otherwise. And this is something that you can also do quickly during other times of the match. For example, when you down a survivor, you don't need to stare at your weapon, just look around for a little bit while you recover, try to gather information that could be helpful in the next few minutes of the match. And that was everything. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next quick one, or not.